So the latest mission of the Republicans on the right is trying to get the Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, pardoned for murdering George Floyd. He was convicted by a jury of his peers. We all saw the video. We all saw George Floyd grasping for air and asking for his mom and then eventually dying, all on camera. And Derek Chauvin, whatever his name is, did nothing. In fact, just straight up murdered him live on video. And Ben Shapiro now is on a mission to try to get him pardoned. And my question is, why? Why do you want a guy who is convicted of murder and convicted of hate crimes as well to be let off? And the reason is, and this is something that a lot of our friends of color have told us, but not enough people who look like me say, is that they don't want a white police officer to be held accountable for any of their actions, especially against a person of color like George Floyd was. There is no other way that you could explain this. We saw the video. We saw him get murdered over essentially nothing. And they want to let him go anyways because they don't think that people that look like me should be held accountable for doing things to people who look like George Floyd. And it's time for more people who look like me to speak up and say it. We all know it's there. We all know it's real, but we have to keep talking about it. And we can't rely on people of color having to scream and yell about it, which they've been doing for hundreds of years. It's on us now, guys. It's time for us to step up and say, no, this nonsense has to stop.
What do you think about the whole George Floyd, Derek Chauvin situation?
What do you mean? Derek Chauvin is doing probably the rest of his life in prison.
Until he gets pardoned?
By who?
By Trump.
Trump is not pardoning him.
Yes, there are talks about Trump pardoning
Trump
the
ain't
federal
talked
charges.
about. Trump ain't said that.
Yes, he has.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has.
Trump ain't never. I'll put money on it. Trump ain't never mentioned that. Ben Shapiro came out with a petition to do that. That has nothing to do with nothing. Even if he get let off on his federal civil rights charges, he's still gonna do the rest of his life in prison because he got charged on the state level.
Yeah, state level murder charges.
To my black people, do not fall for Elon Musk's bait. He replied to Ben Shapiro saying to pardon Derek Chauvin on Twitter. I believe that he is simply trying to get us riled up, get us out, get us protesting, get us angry about something. But I looked into it, and Ben Shapiro was talking about only pardoning him of the federal charges, which is all that Trump can do. And yes, if he did pardon him on those federal charges, that would knock out the 21-year federal sentence. But there is still the state level where he was sentenced to 22 and a half years. So ultimately, this is just bait. They're trying to get us mad, trying to get us angry. Stay grounded. Don't fall for the bullshit and just continue to mind our business and focus on ourselves.
Trick black people into rioting in the streets because they have a hidden agenda and motivation to our response to Mr. Chauvin being pardoned. Donald Trump will pardon Derek Chauvin, but as Charles said earlier, who's a great legal mind, he said that would not exonerate nor pardon him on the state level. So Derek Chauvin, after being pardoned by Donald Trump, who I believe his best friend started this talk, Elon Musk, about pardoning Derek Chauvin, Trump will do it, but it won't free him from prison because on the state level, the only one that has the power to do that is Governor Tim Walz. He's not going to do it. But they're playing on the intelligence of black people because what they want us to do is when Trump does it, we get angry. We take to the streets. We start rioting because they secretly want to bring in the United States military into the inner cities of America under the guise of fighting crime. I said this on this show. And just 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump signed an executive order giving police departments all across America military technology and military weapons to fight crime. And now we hear 2 weeks after that executive order, he's now going to possibly pardon Derek Chauvin. This is a trick to get us into the streets, to start us rioting, and then bring in the United States military as justification to stop the rioting, the looting, and the criminal activity.
Here's the
His
thing.
behavior right now exhibits he don't care about popular opinion or any votes because he won't need them. So trust me, Donald Trump is going to do this because he wants to send a message to his base that I'm doing whatever I can do to make America the land of the great white man again.
What Donald Trump is going to do is he's going to repeal the consent decree, which will take away some Department of Justice federal oversight of the Minneapolis Police Department and give them more autonomy and more ability to fight crime. That's absolutely appropriate. I
he gonna pardon Chauvin.
I don't care how people frame it negatively to try to incite other people. It's absolutely appropriate. Minneapolis is besieged by crime, and we need active law enforcement because you mentioned it. You know, don't burn our own neighborhoods.
Don't do it.
When Tim Walz had the National Guard and the State Guard stand down while arson swept all through parts of Minneapolis, what parts were they? They were the black parts. And so many black business people lost everything.
A few black business people.
Right? No, a great
The
number.
overwhelming majority
They
of those
burned
businesses were not owned by black people.
And it's
in fact, they had black
heartbreaking.
folk putting black-owned business in the window so black folks wouldn't destroy
Okay,
it. But less than 10% of those businesses in the black community were owned by black people.
Public safety is returned to
Don't
Minneapolis.
fall for that trick. This is a setup, brothers and sisters.
An online petition to pardon Chauvin has reportedly garnered 50,000 signatures, and the cause has attracted the attention of MAGA celebrities like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and Elon Musk. Why do you think this is happening?
I feel that these people want to incite riots again so they can do what they wanted to do in 2020 and kind of like basically, for lack of better terms, get rid of us.
You feel something like this would spark people to just react in a violent way, and that's what some of them want, so they'd have an excuse to hurt people? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I feel.
Derek Chauvin's federal charges for violating your brother's civil rights resulted in a 21-year sentence, which he is serving concurrently with his 22-and-a-half-year state sentence for murder, meaning that a federal pardon wouldn't have any impact on the time Chauvin spends in jail. What do you think the point of all of this is? He wouldn't get out of jail because he still would be in under state charges. So why would people like Musk and all of them, what point are they making when they know it won't free him from his incarceration?
Well, I don't think they're making any point. You know, I stand on what I said before with Shapiro. They need to stay in their lane. You know, I listen to, you know, some what you speak on when it comes to the Central Park Five and what Trump did as a businessman, as a real estate person. He stepped out of his lane and voiced his opinion, and that's what I feel like Shapiro and every other person, conservative or whatever, is doing now. They're voicing their opinions, but they're not stating facts. They're not paying attention to the facts.
Alex Pretty's family just made a powerful legal move. They have retained the former federal prosecutor that helped convict Derek Chauvin from the George Floyd murder case. And this guy is helping them pro bono. Stephen Schleicher is now at the Minneapolis firm Maslin and brings decades of experience in federal prosecutions and civil rights cases like this. He will lead the Pretty family's fight for answers after his killing during a federal immigration enforcement operation, while the family of Renee Good, another person killed in Minnesota by federal immigration agents, retained the Chicago firm that represented George Floyd's family. This signals that the family is preparing serious legal challenges to this, with top civil rights litigation talent backing their case, and puts major pressure on federal officials to explain exactly what happened. Stay tuned, because this case is developing and national attention is only growing. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Follow me for more.
Americans, let me know yes or no. After all this time, all the information that we know, at the end of the day, do you think that Derek Chauvin should be pardoned for the death of George Floyd?
So the legend, Derek Chauvin, a good man of this country, protector of many, is finally going to get his pardon from the governor of Minnesota. The Congress people or whoever is going to pardon him deserves steak dinners for the rest of their lives in the state of Minnesota. This man is not only a patriot, he did this country and he did that city a benefit. He never should have been in jail. But it's good to see that they're working to get this man pardoned, and I want him to be pardoned as soon as possible and his family taken care of for the rest of their life. If they can celebrate an innocent boy losing his life, we can celebrate a criminal But then again, the way these sinuses have been lately in this country and in this little state here, I can't breathe either.
Oh boy. Damn. I'm not gonna lie. This made me angry and uneasy at the same time. The moment people started saying this could be bait, I instantly understood the fear behind that. And hearing Derek Chauvin's name brought back to the entire George Floyd moment all over again, does that make any sense? Do these people remember what he did to George Floyd? It doesn't make any sense. So I believe it's a bait. And I believe they actually want to bait Black Americans. They want them to go out there to revolt. And of course, we know what the president is going to do if that happens. I remember how heavy that period felt for everybody. So hearing people even float the idea of a pardon, that sounds crazy. That felt disgusting. I was honestly shocked that this is even being talked about. Like it's some normal political conversation. Everybody just being cool and talking about it. That is crazy. That is not even supposed to be a topic anymore. It was done and dusted. He was being sentenced for 22 years in prison. And that was it. Even though most of us weren't actually satisfied with that sanction, but at some point we were contented with that sanction. But now speaking of a pardon, and that the president is thinking to actually grant that pardon, this doesn't make sense at all. And then when people started breaking down how they believe this is meant to provoke black outrage, I can't even pretend that it didn't hit me. I cannot. I feel that is actually the plan. Because whether someone agrees with that theory or not, you can hear the exhaustion in people's voices. They are tired of feeling like their pain gets turned into headline hashtags and political games. That part really got me. Especially when people kept saying, don't give them what they want. You could hear survival instincts talking. You shouldn't revolt. Allow them. They should grant his pardon. Let them do what they want to do. You shouldn't react because that is what they want. They want us to react. They want us to talk. They want the Black Force to become the new headline out there, for them to use that for their political advantage, to do their stuffs as they always do, as they often do. At the same time, I can't ignore how heartbreaking it is at that people even feel forced to think this strategically about justice. Imagine watching someone die on camera, seeing global protests happen, and years later, people are still worried that accountability can be reserved for political chaos. That is sick. I can't believe this. That is crazy. That is disgusting. That's dark. And honestly, it says a lot about how broken trust has become. I know this topic is heavy, but I want to hear your honest thoughts respectfully in the comments. Do you think people are overreacting? Or do you understand why emotions are this high right now? I appreciate you all for watching this video to the end and rocking with me. Subscribe if you want more real conversations like this, because I want to see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching today.